And now, let me tell you about one of the people who will be joining us on stage. Now, he's one of the very well-renowned indie cinemakers. He's famous for his works like Khosla Ka Ghosla, LSD. Does anybody know the full form of that? Huh? Love, Sex or Dhoka. Very nice. We all also know him as the maker of Oye Lucky Lucky Oye. And now, he's going to be coming up on stage and addressing you people because he's got a movie coming up. That man, this man, his name is Dibakar Banerjee. Can I have a huge round of applause for Mr. Banerjee here? Mr. Banerjee. Welcome, sir. So proud to have you on stage, sir. Mr. Dibakar Banerjee joining us. His movies, his upcoming movie, Byomkesh Bakshi is coming up. And also joining him on stage, you know, Times of India calls this guy one of the top 5 comedians of India. New York Times calls him one of the most intelligent comics of India. He is one of the writers, he's the writer of Loins of Punjab. May I call on stage Mr. Anubhav Pal. So, gentlemen, please grab your seats. I'll give you your microphones. Yeah. So without wasting much time, yes, sir, you were going to say something. You were going to say something? Okay. So now, without wasting much time, we're going to play you a teaser now. Can I have some shout-outs for that, yeah? Why so silent, yeah? Hey, no half-hearted shouts. I've been saying it out since morning. Can we have some louder shouts from you people? Come on! And that's how we do it in India. Yeah? Can we have the teaser?
And there come the Japanese dive bombers. Bomb after bomb fall over Kidapur dockyard. Flames shifting up 100 feet in the sky. A very bad day for Kolkata.
Bakshi. Byomkesh Bakshi.
What to follow? When my voice stops speaking, I feel hollow. My broken pride, my body feels battered.
As I start, can I hear it once for Dibakar Banerjee fans? He was worried his fans are not young enough. Are they? These are young fans, yeah?
I was worried that I wasn't young enough. That's all.
I'm going to start with a really simple question, Dibakar. You've tackled real estate in Delhi with Khosla Ghosla. You've tackled government politics with Shanghai. You've tackled, I don't know what with Love, Sex and Dhoka, but at least Love, Sex and Dhoka. Why detectives and why Calcutta?
I mean, I was fascinated by Byomkesh stories since I was a kid because when I was 12 or 13, all Bong kids like me, whether they grew up in Delhi or in Calcutta, we were told, don't read Byomkesh. And I mean, after someone tells you that, you got to read it, man. I mean, God knows what's in there, you know. I mean, so we just went for Byomkesh because we were told not to read Byomkesh. And I think parents used to tell us not to read Byomkesh was that unlike the usual detective stories that you read, Byomkesh stories used to have a lot of grown-up things, you know. It was about people going wrong. It was about people being dark, the really dark, shitty things that we have hidden inside our hearts, and people, you know, giving vent to that. It was also very sensuous. At the time when Sharadendra Banerjee was writing, you really wouldn't have nudity or open sex in a book or something like that. But there was something about the stories that was really sensual. And it used to hit me as an adolescent. I could see that, okay, this is how grown-ups behave. So that means that uncle could have a fascination for that auntie. You know, it's literally like that. It was a mirror into the world. And there was this guy who was as Indian and as bong as any of us. He used to wear a dhoti kurta, he used to wear a shirt dhoti, and he would be on a tram or a bus and he would go through Calcutta and then he would solve these mysteries and it would be all very Indian. And there would be unique shit like, you know, there would be poison in pan, or there would be, you know, some guy would be hitting on a drug which would be in a pot of ink. So every time every time he would want a fix of his dope, he would suck on the nib of the pen and pretend that he's writing a diary. And his ink pot was the dope. So these kind of plot lines I have never read, and I'm sure a lot of us have not read these kind of plot lines ever. So that's the uniqueness of Sharadindu. He is completely original, completely naughty, completely irreverent and classic at the same time.
That's fantastic. So I'm going to shift gears now, and I'm going to ask a question that I met a fan of yours outside, and I'm going to quote this fan directly. And this fan said, "I'm not a fan of Bollywood, I'm a fan of Dibakar Banerjee." It almost sounds like you've created a movie genre all by yourself. I mentioned this in a very specific context. Bollywood does horror, has traditionally done horror, hasn't traditionally done ghosts the way we know it in, say, The Others, or, you know, in ghosts, like the way South Americans make ghost movies, right? The murder mystery seems like a very Calcutta thing. It's the Calcutta night, it's murderers. You don't think of Bengalis as murderers, but you know, it's always harbored a detective thing. You are now going to take that genre nationwide. Do you feel like, I have no other way to phrase this, but do you feel like Bollywood is ready for a Dibakar Banerjee genre?
Man, Bollywood was never ready for me. I mean, I don't know how I'm surviving even now. So I don't think Bollywood is the question here, because you see, when we are part of the industry, we think that the industry is the audience. That's the mistake we all make. And the real thing is that the audience is the audience and the industry is the industry. And as the audience changes, the industry's got to either change or become obsolete. Something like that. And you know, every 20 years, it happens. 20 years from now, you will be interviewing some other director and you'll be saying that, you know, you are the hot new thing now. And guys like Dibakar and Anurag are, you know, old hat. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So it just keeps on. So I don't know whether, I mean, I didn't even think of Bollywood when I started making films. So I only thought of my city or the people I know or the kind of things that we do, or whether we fall in love or whether we don't have money or whether we steal stuff from other people. That's what I thought.
You say that, but you are being modest in a wonderful sort of way, because, you know, there's all this crime procedural fiction in the world. I mean, the number of fans of Mark Gatiss and Stephen Moffat I've seen here, huge fans of Sherlock. You started this story 2 years ago. You did not know that India would be at a point where crime noir would be of interest, but here you are with a crime noir movie at a time where Sherlock is huge. You guys know the podcast Serial, that's really big. A lot of fans of Stieg Larsson, Joe Nesbo, Murder of Suspect X. All this is going on, right? And were any of those Western things going on in the crime fiction, NCIS, all of that, were all those influences for you to do Byomkesh?
No. I think the only influence that I will kind of admit to is Sherlock. And not the detective stories, but the wonderful way in which the late 19th century stories were made contemporary. And the wonderful way in which Sherlock and John, that is Holmes and Watson, talk back to each other. I just loved it. I just loved that writing and that reinterpretation. That I have been a little influenced by, because a lot of people who've seen the teaser, they've asked me that, are you influenced by Guy Ritchie's Sherlock or something like that? And no, not at all, not at all. When you see the film, if there's any influence that you can see, and I'm very open about these things because the best thing about making things better is to take from other people who've done things better than you, is to have the relationship between Bomkesh and his Watson Ajit reinterpreted. And this time in my Bomkesh, the kind of twist that we've given to Bomkesh and Ajit, that I claim has not happened till date.
That's a
So
fantastic
that's
point.
a new one. That's a new one.
I don't think I could see your audience likes
I
this.
don't know if you know about Bomkesh and Ajit. Ajit is the sidekick. So this time in my Bomkesh, in the teaser for which you saw, we've totally reinterpreted the relationship. Because usually the detective comes everybody knows that this is the detective, so he's God. They go like this, and whatever he says is true. But this is Bomkesh's first case. And you'll see more of it in the trailer as it comes out in January. And nobody believes him. Nobody gives a shit about Bomkesh. And Bomkesh is the guy who is actually the underdog. And it's about him being accepted for the first time. His first case. So this film could also be named as Byomkesh Begins if that bloody Nolan hadn't done it before. So I would have done it.
That's okay. You're our Christopher Nolan. It's all right. Any fans of Sherlock, the TV series? I don't think I could tell. So these guys would definitely watch an Indian version of Sherlock, and let's go into.
It's not an Indian version of Sherlock.
I wanted this correction.
It's not an Indian version of Sherlock.
Tell us what it is.
Bomkesh is a detective. Bomkesh solves crimes in Calcutta 1943. Those are the only similarities. That way, man, the sky in Godfather is blue. So I've lifted from Godfather if my film has a blue sky. So no, it's not like that. Bomkesh is totally Indian. And the film is totally Indian. And the film is about a very important point in our lives, in India's history, which is 1943 Calcutta. I don't think any of you have ever seen an air raid in your life. Have you? I mean, I don't remember any planes from Pakistan or China coming into Bombay. In 1943, Calcutta was being bombed by Japan. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, you can hear fighter aircrafts coming and bombs falling outside. Yesterday, we launched the poster in Calcutta at a hotel where 70 years ago, a bomb had fallen right outside on the footpath. So it's a very important part of India's history, and that's where we are planting Bomkesh. So it's totally Indian.
And tell us a little bit about Bomkesh and Ajit. It's a very interesting relationship. Your detective is married.
Not yet.
Not yet. He's not married yet. But he's got a sidekick. And his first case, without giving very much away, involves his sidekick. Will you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I can't because I will be giving up too much. But usually what happens is in a book, the sidekick is there to make the story relevant to you guys. I mean, if the sidekick is not there, who will tell you the story? But when you see it on a film, you're already seeing the detective doing his shit. So why is the sidekick there? So we had to reinvent a new kind of a relationship which almost starts with enmity. Ajit hates Bomkesh's guts. That's all I can reveal at this point.
Which is a great plot sort of structure, right?
Yeah. I like that part of the thing, really.
So we have to talk about Calcutta detectives, right? Because you're living in that world. And you can disagree with me there. But I would venture to guess there are 5 big Calcutta detectives, arguably, right? There's Jayanto, there's Bomkesh Bokshi, we are coming to him. There's a Ray fan in the audience. Parashar Burma, Kiriti Roy, and Pradosh C. Mitter, also known as Feluda. Why Bomkesh?
For me, he's the most complete character because you see, Feluda, I'm a fan. I grew up on Feluda. But Feluda is really for pre-teens and teens. And Bomkesh is really the only long-lasting adult detective that I have ever come across amongst all the international stories also. Because when you read all the 32 stories, they were written from 1930s to 1970. There's a huge arc on how Bomkesh changes. and it's a very entertaining arc. And for me, Byomkesh is the most complete because it's like Byomkesh has love, sex, dhokha, dosti, khoon, poisoning. I mean, imagine a man has high blood pressure. So he is killed by being hung upside down. Because, you know, if you have high blood pressure and if you're hung upside down, your blood vessels will burst. I mean, how cool is that? Who has thought of plots like these? Who has thoughts of ways of killing people like these? It's the Byomkesh stories, you know.
It has all the elements of a Dibakar Banerjee film.
It's amazing, and it's Sharadindu Banerjee. You guys must go out and look for English translations of Sharadindu Banerjee. It's amazing. He's arguably one of the world's best in terms of innovative plot lines. And again, I'm saying, why do we read detective stories? We read them to, you know, satisfy our own urge to kill people. We satisfy our own urge to catch the culprit, our own urge for violence and macabre or scary, all those things, right?
Exactly.
So Sharadindu gives you all of that.
And Sharadindu's detective, other than the others, is very interesting. He was an advisor to the government. He was a friend of Sardar Patel's.
Byomkesh is a very important advisor to Sardar Patel and the Home Ministry, and he's helping India at a very crucial time in 1947-48 when India is in partition and Pakistan is being created and China is creating trouble. So Byomkesh is a man on the spot. He's like
He's quite young.
he's
Yeah,
quite like, yeah.
We'll come to Dibakar Banerjee heroes later. As you know, heroes you've created. But we'll come to that in a bit. This is an audience question I got. And I was told, this was by a 12-year-old boy who's somewhere in the audience. I don't know where he is. The question he gave is, this is a Dibakar Banerjee question. If you were a detective, what kind would you be?
Oh,
12-year-olds, best questions.
short.
As in, you'd solve short cases or you'd be a short detective?
I would be a short detective. Because most detectives I know are usually tall and angular and quite impressive looking. I would be the short, gitty, specky detective.
Short detective.
That's how we will kind of differentiate the genre.
Go in and out of rooms as well. Let's quickly. Do you think every good detective needs an addiction and a sidekick? I say this because in Bengali literature, Jayanto took snuff, Byomkesh and Felu had cigarettes, Kiriti smoked a pipe, Sherlock Holmes obviously had heroin, and in the new one, a nicotine patch. Do you think a good detective needs an addiction? And if so, does it have to be a narcotic?
It need not be a narcotic because in Byomkesh has an addiction. And by the way, that is the addiction that Sharadindu Banerjee had.
You'll show us what it is.
Yeah, it's there in the film. It keeps coming back. I think the reason writers put an addiction into the detective is because they know that if the detective is a square guy all the time, then it becomes boring. So they want to make the detective dark. I think the true meaning of noir is the darkness inside the hero. And in this case, the hero is a detective. So the problems inside the hero, my dad, my dad beat me up, or my girlfriend left me, nobody loves me, I'm alone, all this kind of shit, that's what creates the noir thing inside the detective. And the writers know that it's a very nice ploy for the audience to get hooked onto, because we all like dark people in a film, in a book, not in life. Well, some people in life also like,
Correct.
But in a film or in a book, the darker the hero gets, the more interested we are in him.
And that actually segues to my next question. Why are all detectives bad with love and women? Or just love, basically? And you may disagree and say not all detectives are love, because Byomkesh has a wife. But as you read more of the short stories, you realize that Byomkesh has a wife and he has a sidekick. And he spends so much time with the sidekick that
It's
you don't
almost
really
a
know,
menage a trois. It's
you
a
don't,
full...
exactly. You don't know who's his wife. And you can't just dismiss it by being, oh, he's Bengali, he's allowed 3 wives. It's not... There has to be something going on there. Why do you think detectives are just bad in love?
I think there's something about logic that does not go with love. Detectives are supposed to be logical, Your hands and your nails tell me that you're a plumber from Virar. And you live in gully number 14 in such and such colony because you have got that color which is only on that wall. I don't think this kind of a guy will go very far with women. Because when you meet a woman, what you need to do is to tell the woman that, man, you're so mysterious, I want to figure out. And if you meet a woman and say, listen, I know the lipstick that you've put on is borrowed from your friend because you came here in a hurry and you didn't want to be late, she's not going to date you again. So that's the reason I think why detectives don't, go.
And that's ironic because even when your detective looks like Sushant Singh Rajput, he
Well,
has trouble with women.
The difference is that Byomkesh is a truly romantic detective. In the Sharadindu Banerjee stories, he was the only guy who fell in love with Satyavati. He went and actively wooed her. By the way, Satyavati was a client. Satyavati was almost a suspect in a murder mystery. He kind of rescued Satyavati and then he actively wooed her. And I do suspect that there was an, quiet competition between Byomkesh and Ajit about Satyavati.
Wow.
And once Byomkesh wins over Satyavati, Ajit, who's a really large-hearted guy, who's really the real wife and the real mother to Byomkesh and the real family to Byomkesh, he accepts both of them as his children. And you can see it in all the stories forward. It's a lovely story of friendship, actually.
So in the modern day, if Sharadindu was living today, he'd have Ajit leave and start his own detective agency online.
Well, in the actual story, it's not so different because being a detective, Byomkesh obviously can't make too much money. What Ajit does is he opens a book publishing house and supports Byomkesh. You can read it between the lines that he's the guy who with Satyavati is actually taking care of the Byomkesh household. When Byomkesh somehow gets money to make a new house, he's the guy who is supervising it with Satyavati. I think it's got to do with the fact that we all want detectives to be honest. And over the 20th century, it's becoming much more, and the 21st, it's becoming much more difficult to be honest and rich. So when we look at somebody who's dirt poor, we kind of think that, okay, he's honest. So that's the way it works, I guess.
Exactly. I'm coming to a Dibakar Banerjee question from the movies of Dibakar Banerjee. You've enjoyed quirky stuff. You had Abhay Deol steal a dog in a movie about a thief. In Shanghai, you had a guy showing off really bad paintings in his house.
Love, Sex or Dhokha.
In Love, Sex or Dhokha.
Yeah.
He had a guy showing off really bad paintings.
Shanghai, I had them shoot porn.
In Shanghai, you had a pornographic studio with editing problems. In Bombay Talkies, you had a guy with a pet emu. Was it an ostrich or in Nawazuddin Siddiqui had a pet ostrich? Emu. What does Byomkesh have?
I think the first thing that Byomkesh has is that he refuses to acknowledge that he's a detective. I think throughout the film, as he's solving a case, as people ask him, what are you? Are you a detective? No. So it's almost like when I began my career as a working advertising guy from NID and all that, I could read, I could write, and I could sketch both. So one of my gurus, one of my bosses said that never tell people what you do. When they ask what you do, if you're sketching, say you're a copywriter. And if you're on your desktop writing copy, say you're a visualizer. So it keeps them guessing. So I kind of got that from Byomkesh because there is this name that Byomkesh has for himself called Satyandveshi, which means the seeker of truth. He puts that name just to deny the fact that he's a detective. He's not comfortable with it. So I think that's the main conflict that Byomkesh has. And yesterday when we were in Calcutta, a lot of people asked us, why have you named your film Detective Byomkesh Bakshi? Because he's not a detective. And Ajit himself has said that Byomkesh is a detective. He just tried to deny the fact by saying that he's a Satyandveshi.
The sketching brings me to my next question, which I think we'll be showing people a little clip here. The poster from Byomkesh Bakshi is very different from movie posters we're used to seeing. Movie posters we're used to seeing is basically Kareena Kapoor wearing a different Chanel or Louis Vuitton dress. Pretty much all our movie posters are the same, right? But in your movie poster, you sketched the movie poster yourself?
Well, I don't sketch all my movie posters. This time, the movie poster and all the upcoming movie posters for Byomkesh Bakshi follow an art form which I love, and I'm a geek of that art form, which is the old Bengali noir and pulp illustration art form.
Below. And Byomkesh and Sushant had to run on this long table and leap over the light. Not exactly a very safe procedure, I must say, especially with your leading man. So there's this light, it's shooting up, it's throwing up light, and he has to run in and jump. So Sushant did it in 3 or 4 jumps, and not only did it in 3 or 4 jumps in a dhoti, he gave me the exact position that I had sketched, because he had studied the position and he's such a perfect athlete and a dancer that when he went mid-air, he took the position that I had drawn. So it was much easier than I thought it would be. We got the shot and that's it, and then the illustrator went to work. They were all illustrated, by the way, and that's why we had a team of designers and illustrators from Calcutta to illustrate the poster in that Bengal noir technique, which I'm calling it. And I'm very happy with what's come. So that's why I thought I wanted a dynamic poster. So when it just came to me that I wanted Byomkesh on the run in his dhoti flying, and out of that came the pulpy fantasy subject of Byomkesh jumping over the Howrah Bridge with the Japanese fighters chasing, and you can see the backdrop of Calcutta below. And obviously it's not real, but it's the fantasy element which gives you the pulpy adventure of the story that I'm trying to tell. So that's why I found it quite appropriate.
आग की लपटें आसमान को छू रही हैं और ये जापानी बमबार हवाई जहाजों का टाइप हुआ। फिरोजपुर डॉकयार्ड पे बम गिर रहे हैं। कलकत्ता के ये बम उड़ा दे।
A few more questions and then we'll throw it open to the audience. Dibakar, are you going to bring the flying dhoti back in fashion?
Really hope so. I can tell all the men here I've worn dhoti in some Bengali marriages. It is very liberating, and it's really a hang loose feeling, and you ought to try it in this sultry Indian weather, you know. I mean, jeans have nothing over dhotis. From personal experience, I can tell you that, and now even Sushant is an advocate.
Some would say too liberating. I think so.
Well, there are ways. There are ways that you can wear a dhoti and still not flash.
I have a question that I think is a fair question to ask you making a detective film. What is your, I think you've answered some of this with saying you like Sherlock. What is your relationship growing up and as a filmmaker with Sherlock Holmes and Feluda?
Hello. Very good, because Sherlock, I don't know, because as an average born kid, we read stuff much earlier in translations. So when an average North Indian or a Bombay kid would read a Sherlock Holmes story when you're 11 or 12 or 13, an average born kid, at least in those days when I was growing up in the 80s and all that, I would read them when I was 7 or 8 in the Bengali translation. So I got to know about Sherlock Holmes and Hercule Poirot and some other detectives through Bengali translations. And then much later, when I was about 14 or 15, when my English was good enough to read Arthur Conan Doyle's original text and understand that, that's when I started reading. But I loved them. I loved all of them, because probably the filmmaker in me was reacting to the wonderful sense of time and space that's there. Feluda is a completely different story. Feluda is an average born kid's education. We start reading them when we are 7, 8, 9, and we keep reading them till we are 45.
There's one fabulous story where Feluda goes to Sherlock Holmes's house. And he says to him, he bows and he says, "Guru, I am here because you are there."
Is this one of the later stories?
Later story.
I have missed this one out. Okay, so I've missed this one, but I know that Ray himself was a big fan of Jeremy Brett's Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, he loved him.
Which ran on Indian Doordarshan in 84 or 85 or
Correct.
something.
In fact, Mark Gatiss, who spoke earlier, said Jeremy Brett was, Jeremy Brett got so obsessed with Sherlock Holmes, it made him ill.
Absolutely.
He made him mad.
He probably died. He
died.
probably died because of his 7-year season.
Correct.
7-year
he
long
started
stint.
thinking he is. Yeah.
He bloated and something happened. I mean, respect, may his soul rest in peace, because he was certainly one of the definitive ones, just like Cumberbatch. So, but Feluda is an education to us. Through Feluda, Bengali kids like us get to know what is telepathy, what is a manuscript, what is the history of this place or that place, what is an art thief
Yeah.
who steals art from temples and exports to the other countries.
And Feluda traveled a lot.
They were all travelogues. They
Yeah,
were
yeah.
all travelogues. So that's what I used to love.
And a connected question to that: big Western influences currently of detectives. I mean, are you a fan of CSI? Are you a fan of those Japanese ones? Are you a fan of Stieg Larsson? Any of that?
No. I stopped at Hammett and Raymond Chandler.
Dashiell Hammett, Raymond.
And Raymond
So-
Chandler. I stopped in the 30s. I stopped in with true American pulp. But that could be because I'm behind times.
But can we talk about American detectives? Because you mentioned something about your detective there. American detectives always had some sort of a drinking problem. Some woman, mysterious woman, would come with a case. They'd be having whiskey. Their life would be in ruins.
Which was one day the office, and I was sitting, and she walked in with all the angles.
Correct.
It starts
correct,
like that.
Correct. Exactly. Was that a big influence? Like the.
In this, no. In this, the influences were more the Bangla noir and the Bangla pulp. The examples of which I was, showing you. Because here the influences are the childhood books of Dakat Kali Jongole, In the Forest of the Dacoit Queen, or Chaya Kalo Kalo, which means the Black Shadow.
Literally black shadows.
Black Shadow. In this book called Black Shadow. And there would be heroes like these guys who would have submarines who would surface in some lake in Calcutta.
Yeah.
And there would be this super hero, the super villain, who would have this mysterious poison which will emit out of his pinky. Shit like that. So that's the kind of pulp that I grew up on. So very lowbrow stuff.
It's awesome stuff. I'm sure these guys love it. I remember if they could get. I know Kiriti Roy, he had a kimono, and when he used to think of cases, he had a chaise longue. He used to lie on his chaise longue and smoke his pipe. And some kid is like, "Oh, my whole family died." He's like, "Yeah, tell me more." But he's on his pipe. Yeah. He's just chilling.
This is called the Pukure submarine genre of Bengal mystery, which translated in Hindi means तालाब में submarine. So इस तरह की कहानियाँ होती थी जहाँ पे तालाब में सबमरीन होते थे, तालाब से सबमरीन. Has anybody here read Rajan Iqbal? I'm so saddened because
These are all Doctor Who fans.
yeah, I know, because it really makes me feel old, because we grew up on Rajan Iqbal, and these guys were these really pulpy books, and they always used to steal the covers from Hardy Boys covers. And just to tell you that Rajan Iqbal were these teenage detectives come spies.
Like from Find Outers, Famous Five. It's from that Hardy
Absolutely,
Boys.
and they were India's answer to everything. And they had special powers, like they had gone to this spy training school, and they had learned a special dance which rendered them immune to machine gun bullets.
That's a fantastic point. On that note, well, this is definitely a big round of applause for the one and all Dibakar Banerjee. This is definitely not a repressed audience. I just saw someone dressed as a Jedi coming out in an auto. That person is definitely not repressed. He may be a lot of other things, but he's not repressed. So I'm going to throw this open to you people for questions of any kind. There's a gentleman there already.
My question is for Dibakar. How did you translate Feluda's vision in film, like production design, art direction? How did you bring the tone of the book in film?
I never did translate Feluda. I translated Bomkesh.
I think he means Bomkesh.
You mean Bomkesh, right? It's a difficult question because film is not a book. So what you need to do is to read the book, figure out what will look good on film. First you take that part. Then you realize, कि boss, there are certain things in the story which I haven't taken, without which the story is not complete. That's the tough part. So you spend 1 year on how to make the untranslatable translatable. So there are 2 layers to it. It's a very good question if you're a film student, or, you know, this is the main shit. How to take a book into a successful film while being faithful to the original intention of the author. So that's a tough one. It took us about 2 years actually.
Next question. There are a couple of hands up. The gentleman sitting and another gentleman behind him.
We kind of grew up with the Rajat Kapoor, Byomkesh Bakshi coming up on Doordarshan. So this version that you're creating, to what extent is it similar to that, and to what extent is it totally different from that?
So just for everyone to hear, I'll just repeat this. Everyone grew up with Rajat Kapoor's Byomkesh Bakshi for television. How is your vision different or similar?
Well, it's first I'll list the similarities. They are both men, and they both are between 25 and 35, let's say. So that's where the similarities end. And this Byomkesh, you see, Basu Chatterjee's Byomkesh, because it was very faithfully translating the stories, it already accepted Byomkesh as an established detective. This Byomkesh is about Byomkesh coming onto the scene where no one even knows what a detective properly means. And this is about Byomkesh establishing himself onto the scene against all odds. That's one thing. Second thing is, I think on the big screen, things change. On a big screen, you can go deeper and darker. So this Byomkesh is a lot deeper and darker than the Rajat Kapoor version. That doesn't mean that it's any better. That we will see once we see the film and all that. Also, this film has got another aspect which I can't reveal right now, which Sharadindu had in his books. It's something to do with Byomkesh's nemesis. And that's what is there in this film, which is different. And that's something very exciting. And I'll reveal more of it as we get closer to the release.
Dibakar, Indian Moriarty. This is very nice.
I will say no more.
We have 2 more questions. Gentlemen standing.
Since you were talking about the Bangla comic art style and all, so I just wanted to know, like, do you have anything in mind about publishing a comic on Byomkesh Bakshi in that art form, in that style, since you're an illustrator yourself?
I am an illustrator, but I don't think I'll be able to pull off making a film and adapting a graphic novel and illustrating it, because there's simply not that many hours in a day. But there are already a few publishers in Bengal who are doing a lot of interesting stuff of bringing the old, to try and bring the old, Bangla noir and Bangla pulp art style back into vogue. And keep your eyes skinned for that. I would love to do a graphic novel which actually expresses Byomkesh with the tone and the color and the feel of Sharadindu Banerjee. But it needs a lot of time. ऐसे नहीं होगा. You need to give your life to it.
We have time for 2 more questions. There's a gentleman standing at the... there's one gentleman and another one at the back.
Hi. My question is, this is a period film, right? So, like, Sherlock's adaptation is a modern, so there's a lot of technology and a lot of things are added, a lot of thrill is added because of technology. How are we missing out on those things? How do we maintain the thrill and the detective drama that should be there when it's a period? Yeah.
Well,
Dibakar, would you just mention the question? Some people may not.
The question is that Cumberbatch's Sherlock Holmes is absolutely contemporary, and like the SMSs and all WhatsApp and basically a lot of digital technology and web technology into that. Since this is a period film, where is the thrill? I think the thrill here is in 2 levels. One level is that when you see 1943 Calcutta, you realize that there are phones, there are buses, There are aeroplanes, there are spies, there are armies, there are guns, there are cars that try and run you over. There's all kinds of technology there which is trying to separate a living man from his life. So that's the basic level of thrill you need for any detective film. Danger, mortal danger of life. So that's fully there. And the other side of thrill that you will get, that which is very contemporary, is that the treatment of the film is very contemporary. You heard the music for the teaser. By the way, the whole soundtrack of a 1943 period film is music by a lot of indie bands and indie musicians of India. And slowly, closer to the release, we'll be releasing the soundtrack. Like this track, which went into the teaser, was done by Joint Family, a new metal group that many of you know. So there are lots of new groups, not new groups, there are lots of indie artists and indie bands that we'll be introducing throughout. The trailer comes out in January. So you will be seeing parts of the soundtrack coming out, and that's absolutely contemporary. There's rap, there's thrash metal, there's electro, there's everything which you will see with the 1943 visuals. So that's another level of the thrill, and I'm looking forward to that.
And I think it's an interesting point, and maybe you could talk a bit about it, that just because something is set in the past doesn't make it contemporary or in the past. I think a lot of what makes it modern or not are the ideas in it, is your treatment of it, is, Mad Men is set in the past. That doesn't make it historic in any way.
I really wanted a feeling where, actually I discussed this with my DOP and my production designer, that imagine us having a time machine, carrying our entire shooting unit to 1943 Calcutta and shooting it exactly the way I would shoot contemporary Bombay or contemporary Calcutta. That's the treatment that's there in the film.
It's tough to do. It's really difficult. Last question. We have one last question. Gentleman who's had his hand up for a while.
You said there are 32 stories. So will we see more of Byomkesh in the coming years?
Man, I need to make the first one work out and be a hit.
I'm pretty sure it'll work.
So touch
we're
wood,
already very excited
power to you, may the force be with you. So
he means that literally. Like, go see the film so he can make another one.
Because I really need this one to see. This is not Love, Sex or Dhokha, Oye Lucky, Shanghai. Those were all films that were one-off statements. This Byomkesh, this character, for me, will not finish unless I make at least one or two more films, because there are wonderful stories that Sharadindu Banerjee has written, and I don't want to sound nationalistic or anything like that. I mean, there's lots to be proud about. I mean, next year, Comic Con should have a stampede about Sushant or Byomkesh or Sharadindu Banerjee. And that's what I'm aiming for. And next year, Comic Con San Francisco should have a stampede about an Indian detective who's solving crimes in 90. So there are lots of stories, and it's all there. Original stuff that Sharadindu Banerjee wrote and imagined for all of us. And I just want the first one to work so that all of us can go on to the second and the third one and feel proud.
Dibakar Banerjee, ladies and gentlemen. Dibakar, I don't know if how your detective solves the crime, but I just hope you solve the problem of how we can get good cinema. Dibakar Banerjee, thank you very much.